Now to another competition being fought this weekend. While the AFL finals are a fortnight away, this weekend other teams will begin their battles for post-season glory. Among them are the ones from the South Australian Amateur Football League. It's been staging Suburban struggles for almost a century. Mike Sexton reports.
We're not going to be able to run the ball with speed.
In a concrete change room that reeks of sweat and liniment, the Kennelworth reserves are getting their final instructions from coach Scott Raistlin.
I want you to get into the packs, get down and get dirty, bang into blokes, be an absolute pest and a nuisance like you can be, all right?
Today the Kookaburras have extra incentive, playing arch-rival Kernelite Gardens. As the players head out, the waft of liniment is replaced by the sweet smell of frying onions coming from the club's barbecue and being overseen by 99-year-old Art Bradshaw. Art played a few reserves games for Sturt before the war, and his interest in Kennelworth came after taking his young son to Unley Oval on a wet and muddy day.
Of course, Mother had dressed him up like the Prince of Wales, you know. And when I got him home, the wife said, "What have you done with my son?" You know what I mean? He was in a mess. And I said, "Oh, that's all right." And I said, "Oh, well, the next time I go to the football, I'll go down the Parklands."
Playing in the Parklands was Kennelworth, and since then he's been involved at almost every level. When the club went top in 1981, he was president. When they won the premiership 8 years later, he was steward. And now he's making steak sandwiches.
When I was young, I'd done every job. I went right through the whole lot, but the last 15 years I've been cooking, doing the barbecue.
Well, Art is football, he is a legend. But also with his apprentices, as he calls himself, Don and Audrey Brown, they're only mid-70s, so they're only babies. It's also known as one of the best barbecues in the amateur league.
The trio behind the hot plate represent the hundreds of volunteers who rub down and tape up 240 teams from 67 clubs across the South Australian Amateur Football League.
It still plays a very important part, I think, in the lives of most South Australian blokes who've got a bit of red blood in their veins.
Art Bradshaw is exactly the same age as the league itself, the first match of which was played a few drop kicks away at Price Oval at Mitcham in 1911. Only University has survived from the original 4 teams, but over the century sides have come and gone, reflecting almost every area and group of the city, from Semaphore Central to Flinders Park, Ghana to Greek, Adelaide Lutheran to Edwardstown Baptist, and Holden's motor bodybuilders to long-range weapons.
The strong clubs remain with us and continue to grow, but you get the other clubs that sort of come out of the blue, not having, unfortunately, the administrators to get the clubs on an even keel and be able to compete with other clubs, and they stay with us for a few years and then move on.
Keith Sims was a premiership fullback with St Peter's Old Collegians, but his name is on the honour board for being president of the Amateur League for 3 decades, during which he's seen the positive effect that clubs can have.
I think it does a lot for the actual suburbs, and particularly those people who are nearer to a club where they can sort of treat it as somewhere to go and meet their friends, have a drink or something like that. But I think it's done a lot, footy.
They just, keep in there and work hard and they get communities together, and I think that's special. That is the nature of amateur football.
Ashley Porter has spent his adult life reporting on AFL and SANFL football, but his most recent work, boastingly titled We Are the Amateurs, chronicles the folklore of the suburbs.
There's a great saying that there's a place for everyone in amateur football, and by that, whether you're short, fat, ageing, bald, God help them, there's a place where you can slot into a team, your standard, you can be a volunteer helping out, and it's all about community sport, and amateur football really is something else.
The publication reflects on the league's history, but also celebrates the current weekend warriors. But there is a misnomer in the league. Since 1996, the last year Keith Sims was president, clubs have been allowed to pay players, meaning they're not strictly amateurs. Some would argue the decision to allow payments only formalised a tradition that's been going on for years.
It's always been a bone of contention, I think, virtually 10 years after the war, that there was always some suspicion that some clubs were paying their players.
At Kennelworth, some players are paid, and the club has an annual budget of around $70,000, which is why Art Bradshaw's barbie comes in handy.
If we don't have a barbecue, you'd probably make $10,000 a year profit, and that would probably pay a third of your administrative costs. So very important, chook raffles don't make it anymore.
In the slop of St Mary's Oval, the Kookaburras thrashed Kernelite Gardens to take the A6 Division Reserves Minor Premiership. Although there were casualties along the way, the club's two senior sides are a chance of winning flags.
The seniors have got good depth if we have a few injuries, and the seniors, even only third or fourth at the moment, they're improving, so they're hitting their straps at the right time.
For Art Bradshaw, it's almost time to pack away the tongs for another season, but his enthusiasm for his club and his hospitality continues.
Listen, while you've got the camera here, can you take a photo of the menu at the back of us? You can have whatever you like, it's all good. Yeah.